dialectic, polemic, dogmatic, pedantic, didactic. My definitions of these 5 words and concepts are very basic. Much has been written about all of these, and if you would like to learn more, I encourage you to do further reading. Dialectic has several meanings. The first meaning is general scholarship, thinking about ideas, opinions. A second definition, which many of you may be more familiar with, is the concept that knowledge and things in the world go through a process of opposing viewpoints, contrary viewpoints, and through this process of opposing viewpoints, comparing them, investigating them, thinking about them, further knowledge is gained, progress is made in knowledge. One of the great philosophers in history, Hegel, who at the time of his life was considered to be the smartest man alive. This is one of his works, and you can see it's very impressive. I haven't read it yet. The concept of dialectic was very critical in many of his writings and his philosophy. And to give you a quick overview, this is a chart of the dialectic process. There's the thesis, the antithesis, and although there are 2 opposing viewpoints, there could be more. So there's this interaction between the thesis and the antithesis, and that leads to a synthesis, a progress in knowledge, and then again you have the thesis, antithesis interacting, and you have more knowledge, and it's just this process going on through time and space where knowledge is increased and improved and perfected through this interaction between opposing ideas, opposing viewpoints. And it's almost as if the knowledge evolves through this process. That's the dialectic or a dialectical process. Polemic is a writing or some sort of work. It could be a movie, it could be an article that presents a strong opposing view to some concept or idea or opinion. So I might say, I wrote a polemic about increasing the minimum wage. I think the minimum wage should be increased, so I wrote a polemic about increasing the minimum wage. Dogmatic is from dogma, and of course dogma is very strong belief, idea, opinion about something. It could be in theology, it could be in philosophy, it could even be in science. So dogma is like a fixed set of beliefs or ideas, and dogmatic is when somebody is attached to those fixed ideas or beliefs and is not willing to maybe consider other ideas or beliefs. So I held a very strong opinion about something, and I wasn't willing to consider other opinions or ideas. So I was locked in dogma. I was being very dogmatic. I wasn't willing to consider other ideas or opinions. So dogmatic usually has a negative connotation. However, not always. Pedantic is when one acts and behaves in the manner of a teacher. And pedantic typically has a negative connotation. Somebody who's pedantic or overly pedantic might correct other people all the time and might, whenever somebody makes an error, correct them. And so pedantic has a negative connotation, and to use in a sentence, I might say it was really difficult to speak with him because he was correcting every other thing I said, and I wasn't even able to complete sentences or paragraphs because he was so pedantic. He just corrected everything that I said, and we were never really able to have a conversation. I think it's more than him being pedantic. I think the guy might have a contrary personality. Even when I'm correct, he's pedantic. So, pedantic, when one calls another person pedantic, it's typically has a negative connotation and is not complimentary. Didactic is when something teaches a lesson. So, for instance, parables and fables often teach didactic lessons. So didactic means something in literature or movies that teaches a didactic idea or concept. An example would be the fable of the scorpion and the frog, where the scorpion asks the frog if he will carry him across the river, and he promises not to sting and kill the frog. When they get to the other side of the river, he does just that. He, being the scorpion, he... Hey, how's it going?